Hey, Gothic Lit. So I'm going to record our lesson today. It's just going to be a little quick one. Um, so just as a heads up, after school yesterday, I found out that my son had to be quarantined. So instead of just missing today, I'm going to be gone until next Thursday because I got to stay home with him. Um, so what that means is I will have whoever's subbing in my class, I'm going to have them pull up Google Meet, and I'll send a link to you guys so you can log just straight in, and we can do our discussions that way. I'll try to find recordings of this so that you can listen like we've been doing, um, and I think we'll just kind of follow that course. So hopefully by Thursday I'll be back and we can kind of get things going again. I will give you guys more instructions on Friday what we're going to be doing, but for today, I would like you to finish I Am Legend. There's two major points that I would like you to be attentive to. One of the things that you're going to find out, or Neville finds out, is that many of the vampires have started to evolve. So instead of being the brainless oafs that they are, some of them, as you'll see from Rita, who he meets, is actually a vampire herself. And they figured out a way to kind of keep some of their humanity. But on the same note, they don't remember, or as far as I can tell, they don't seem to remember what being a human means. Or at least in their esteem, Neville, who is a human being, is actually the monster. And so I think that's kind of a big question that comes at the end is Neville finds that the vampires, especially the more human type ones, are petrified of him. And I think it would make perfect sense that they would be. Neville's the only one of his kind. And during the day when they're sleeping, he comes and he kills them. So, as they're conscious of this, Rita, for one, tells him that Neville killed her husband. So I want you to think about what it means to be a monster. For the whole time we assume that the monsters are the vampires, but by the end of this we see that Neville realizes that he is the monster. And the very last line of the book is where we get the title where he says, "I am Legend." I think the fear that they have of Neville is very interesting, and one that kind of puts a different twist. And especially in apocalyptic literature, we oftentimes see that characters run the risk of becoming monsters themselves. From the few episodes of Walking Dead, I've probably gotten to season 2 of that. One of the things that is, I think, disquieting about that show is that the surviving humans are trying to, I think, form a civilization and be decent, but in order to survive, they have to become monstrous. And so, some characters who are just beastly and vain and violent, when you do flashbacks onto their old life, that's not how they were. So I think, when people are put in stressful situations, especially in apocalyptic size stresses, it's interesting what a person becomes in order to survive. And sometimes it's, again, something that we don't necessarily like. Another point that I want you guys to consider as you're reading this is, Rita gives Neville a warning. She determines herself that he's a decent person, that he's not so bad. And so she says, Neville, you got to leave. My people know where you are. You just got to go. You have, I think she gives him like a month time that, they're going to come and take you. And he doesn't leave. They end up capturing him and taking them and get prepared to execute him, which you'll see at the end of this. I want you to really think about why that is. Why is it that Neville chooses not to leave his home? Okay, it's not that he necessarily puts up a great defense or anything. He doesn't do anything much different. He just doesn't go. And I think that says something also about his personality, but also maybe something about some of his desires. So think about that. And then remember your question that you have today. Let me pull this up. Or your question that you're going to respond to me for tomorrow, response 7. I wrote here, one thing that modern Gothic literature is interested in are questions like, what happens if we lose power? What happens if we have a super virus? What happens if we have a nuclear war? We've seen the popularity of apocalyptic Gothic with television shows such as The Walking Dead, Revolution, The 100, and then you have books like Cell by Stephen King. And then, so my question, the main question follows, how does apocalyptic Gothic literature, movies, television reflect our anxieties? Okay, and then discuss that in relation to I Am Legend. So, I think when I talk about anxieties, that's kind of a big thing that, sorry, that was my son yelling. When we talk about our anxieties, apocalyptic literature really reflects that. Even just having this pandemic, when I started this course, a year ago, we didn't have COVID-19, it was, something that I hadn't heard of before. And, again, we've talked about this, just having a small taste of, having our world shooken up and changed. Think about how much you've changed and how much what would have seemed so strange a year ago has become the normal. What are some things that, we've seen people react to, even just on this small scale? Okay. What bad things has stirred up in people? And I think, if we ever have something that's beyond, what we're having right now with COVID-19, how would the world react? How would we react? What kind of fears are people fostering inside? Like, I think a lot of us are afraid. Maybe not not able to function afraid, but I think there's just, the fear of, what if, okay? So that's kind of what I want you to think about for tomorrow and your response. So anyways, you lot, again, I'm sorry I'm not going to be there today, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be there till next Thursday. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if nothing else happens. But remember, you're going to be with Mrs. Hoffman today. If hopefully you're watching this video just quietly in the hallway or something, but I'll send this off to her so she can share it with you. So anyways, thanks guys so much. I appreciate your willingness to do this. I'll give you more instructions on what we need to do for next week tomorrow. Okay, thanks guys.